Good morning, class. I hope you're doing very well today. My name is Alexiards, and today we're once again diving into the topic of learning to draw. But today we're going to actually talk about how long does it actually take to learn to draw or how to draw well. So I'm going to break down this video into two main topics about how long does it actually take, and the second one, how it depends and how it varies from person to person. So this is a pretty interesting video idea in my opinion. So yeah, thank you for the listening support of the channel, and let's get right into the video. Now for the first section, I will just say flat out that the amount of time it takes you to actually get good at drawing or learn to draw can depend entirely on your art style and the amount of practice that you put time into to actually learn drawing. And I'm going to explain that using an example. Let's say we have two people, person A and person B. Person A has, for example, let's say, spent their entire life drawing. They have been learning to draw since they were a kid. They have been drawing since the dawn of time. They have gone to art courses. They have practiced a lot of stuff, and they have been learning to draw for 10 years, and their drawing look pretty nice. But the key is that the person A hasn't really practiced that much actually drawing during that large time span, but since the time that I have put into drawing is pretty big, this amount of practice still looks pretty big. And the person B, let's say, they have been learning to draw for 4 years, but the difference with person B is that during those 4 years they have made an astonishingly more progress with practicing drawing and practicing sketches, the learning new stuff related to drawing and things like that, and they are on the same level of drawing as the person A. What I mean by this is that when you actually want to get good at drawing, it can entirely depend on your level and your time you put into practicing. If you, for example, have a person that wants to get good at drawing stuff and they, for example, just do 15-minute sketches and once a week, then this process can be extremely long, because when you just do one drawing per week and that drawing isn't that good, then you obviously will need much longer than a person that, for example, spends 2 hours every day just drawing, because they have more time to learn different stuff, they have more time to learn the different techniques, they have more time to learn the different rules of drawing and learn the different utensils also that can be used. So this is the first thing that you need to consider when you want to actually answer this question, is that it can extremely depend on how much time you put into practicing. If you want to actually see how much of a difference this makes, I, for example, have been drawing for a very big portion of my life, a giant portion. I have been drawing for 10 years or something, and I can confidently say that my art is pretty good. I wouldn't say this is some amazing big level, and I'm kind of some mainstream artist, but I would say my art is pretty nice. When it comes to my traditional drawings, I have been practicing I don't know, maybe every day I would do just a little quick sketch. And look at this. This took me 10 years to come to the level that I am now. But when it comes to my digital drawing aspect, I have been drawing professionally, digitally, let's say, for around 6 months. And during those 6 months, I have made a lot of drawings and I have spent a lot of time on them, much more time than when it comes to my sketches that I used to practice drawing and learn drawing traditionally. The difference is staggering. I have seen much bigger advancement when it comes to progress in drawing digitally than when it comes to traditional drawings. I still believe that my traditional drawings are much better because I have spent a bit more time when you actually looked at that when it comes to them, and I have learned more techniques and when it comes to actual art. But when it comes to my digital drawings, I have spent more time actually drawing and sketching them than when it comes to my practices with traditional art. So I would say that when it comes to my digital drawings, they aren't better when you look at them finally, let's say. But when it comes to progress, it is definitely much better. It is much faster when you, for example, spend more time practicing stuff, and you can see the progress and you can see your advancement much more rapidly. So this is the first thing that you need to consider. And the second one is that your, let's say, level of how well you are drawing can depend very much on your own art style. So when you, for example, have a person that only does art traditionally, they have been doing this for a very long time, and they never, let's say, once even thought of picking up a drawing tablet, and they have never done an art on the computer, and their traditional drawings look just immaculate. And now my question is, would you think that this person isn't good at drawing because they don't know how to do art digitally? Obviously, no. You wouldn't say that because this person is amazing at doing art traditionally. And now, at the other side of the spectrum, we have a person that only does digital art. They have been doing digital art for a very long time. They have spent so much time practicing. They have learned every technique that you can ever even think of when it comes to drawing tablets, drawing apps, drawing digital spaces. And they have never really thought of doing traditional art. And would you also say that this person isn't good at drawing because they don't know how to do traditional art? And the answer is also no, because they have been doing digital art and they are amazing at doing that. So this can also entirely depend on your art style. If you have a person that does professional drawings, like those that look realistic, that can be good for them. But you can also have a person that does, let's say, drawings that look a bit more cartoony and let's say that aren't that realistic, and that can also be good for them. Your level of how you perceive art that is good can depend on your art style. This can be a massive factor. When you have a person that just does digital art and they haven't really done anything professional and they haven't really done anything, let's say, realistic, then you wouldn't really say that their art is bad just because it isn't realistic. Their techniques, for example, can be just amazing and out of the roof. But when you, for example, have a person that only does realistic art, you also can say that their art is just amazing because maybe their realistic art is pretty good, but let's say their level at drawing, I don't know, digitally is maybe pretty bad. And my point is that you can't really just generalize this time period when it comes to every single person. A lot of people will have different art styles, a lot of people will have different time periods that they have available for actually practicing art, and a lot of people will have different, let's say, points of view when it comes to what actually defines good art. One person will think, for example, that you are only good at drawing when you draw realistically, and the other person will think you are good at art if you understand all the techniques and understand what actually some of the rules mean. This spectrum is just subjective as hell, and there isn't a very good way to actually generalize it. It can depend on time you have, it can depend on your art style, it can depend on how you perceive what good art is, and it can depend on plethora of other things. So this is the second thing that you need to consider, that this topic is pretty subjective when it comes to different people. But, and this is a big but, I know it is a bit contradicting, but let's actually answer this question: how long does it take on average to learn art? And with everything I said, this can sound a bit contradicting, but hear me out. When you actually want to see how long does it take for an average person, and let's say this average person is a person that wants to learn drawing, they are doing, let's say, 1 hour sketches every single day, and they are doing traditional art. And when it comes to someone like this, their process of learning all the fundamentals of drawing, anatomy, perspective, understanding of the different lines, how confident they are in drawing and stuff like that, this process can take up, I would say, about 4 to 5 years. And I know this may seem like a lot, but if you actually put a lot of work into it, this just flies by insanely fast. And let's say, on the other hand, you have a person that also does everything the same as the first person that I mentioned, but instead they do 15-minute sketches every single day. And then this time period extends so much. Time makes a gigantic difference if you want to learn something. On one hand, you have a person that does 1 hour sketches every day and they learn all the fundamentals in 5 or 4 years. And then on the other hand, you have a person that also does the same thing, but 15 minutes every day instead of 1 hour. And then this time period extends to, let's say, 8 years. My point is that this process of learning to draw can depend entirely on the time you have, the art style the person has, and how you perceive good art. But when it comes to its average, let's say, time period, I would say, in my personal opinion, that for an average person that does, let's say, 30-minute sketches every day and they practice all the fundamentals in some stages of their life, then this time period of learning to draw and being good at realistic drawing, for example, this time period can be around 5 years, something like that. This may seem like a lot, but when it comes to practicing, this will just fly by. And if you're a person that wants to learn art and you think that maybe you have been doing something for a very long time and your art still doesn't look good, don't give up. I can see that a lot of people will just think that they have been, let's say, practicing something for like 2 years, let's say, and they still haven't gotten good. This process can be pretty long, and don't worry if you, for example, feel like you have been spending just ages doing something and you still don't think you are good enough. You shouldn't like really pressure yourself. Being good at anything really takes time, and with art especially, this time period can be extremely long. So if you want to actually get good at something, you need to prepare yourself that it can be good, but in the end it will be so worth it, and you will just see how much you have improved. So for anyone that is actually thinking or even starting to learn to draw, keep going, never give up, and just go for it. Okay, I think this is the end of today's video. So, thank you guys so much for watching, make sure you like and subscribe, and also make sure to leave out ideas for future videos in the comments section. I will be really happy to see your take also on this matter, so if you want to express your opinion, leave it down in the comments section. And yeah, Janek is out. Peace.